Hello, I'm going to be giving you some O-levels tips and tricks today, and the video will be split into 3 different parts, before, during and after O-levels. The timestamps will be in the description box below if you just want to skip to certain parts. And leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thank you. Just a disclaimer that this video will have a lot of clips of me just talking and staring at you. Don't be too freaked out. And most of the tips that I have are actually from my own personal experience, so it is totally okay if you don't think that they suit you and you want to stick to your own methods instead. Just do keep an open mind to see if any of these tips will actually be beneficial to you. So my first tip is to find an ideal studying method for yourself. This is the first step into mugging or studying for your O-levels, and it is a really important starting point because it can determine how well you do or how far you'll be able to go into O-levels without burning out. Some factors you should consider when you're building your own schedule or trying to find your own method is what environments can you study in, noisy versus quiet, or do you need music? Or do you study better with someone else? What subjects are you strong or weak in that you can build on? And just how long you can study in general, because sometimes some people have higher stamina when it comes to studying. Some people tend to do well in shorter bursts. And this will be able to help you because you can find something that matches you, and you can start to not get so distracted whenever you're studying, because it doesn't work out for you if you just get distracted all the time, and you need to find something that suits you. Personally, what I did was I realized that I studied better with someone else, so I would just meet them at Starbucks and study, and music kind of helps a little bit. You also need to remember that breaks are important. Without breaks, your mind cannot process what you just did in the past half an hour, 1 hour of you studying, and you can burn out really easily. My second tip is to use your 10-year series. If you didn't know, 10-year series is a compilation of past year papers in all-in-one book for each subject. I know a lot of Singaporean students will be like, not again, she's asking us to use 10-year series once again. But don't just use it to answer questions and get it over with. It is actually quite important for you to use the TYS questions as a way to answer questions properly with correct answering techniques and proper phrasing. Because a lot of questions in, let's say, science papers, they have certain keywords that you need to put in order to get the mark, and sometimes you can miss them out. Like, the more you practice, sometimes your answers get more vague, and it is better to just practice so that you can see what you're missing out and how to answer it properly. Because sometimes you might not get the mark even if you know the answer, but you don't write it down properly. For stuff like math, it is also quite important because you can figure out workings that you're missing out that might cost you some marks. For English paper 2, you might realize in Sec 4 that you won't be scoring as high as you did in Sec 1 and Sec 2, and you really need to learn how to phrase your answers properly because English can be quite confusing at times. The papers tend to be like a parody of literature papers if you see it properly, and it's quite important to be able to spot like what you can write and what's useful and how you're able to earn those marks, because English can be quite unpredictable sometimes. For me, the least helpful TYS were history, elective history, and social studies, and also English paper 1, because I found out that a lot of the ways they answer the questions and the way they phrase it was like really different from how my school did it, and the way they use different methods for social studies was so off from what I saw, so I didn't use it at all. And English, sometimes you realize that the way they paragraph stuff is a little bit different and not so reliable for me. I tend to just stick to what I'm given in school for those, and that's why I don't really do it. But for elective history, do take note that you can actually use the questions in there to kind of spot what might come out for the year that you're doing it, because they tend to not repeat questions too much.
So as I'm editing this, I have one more tip. Don't indulge in a lot of the rumors that people tend to say. So some people might say that, oh, O-levels is way easier than prelims, and some subjects you need to study confirm can get A. I say don't really indulge in these rumors, just block them out and focus on your own studies, because everybody's gonna have a different experience for O-levels. So yeah.
So everybody's main concern during O-levels is being able to finish their paper or answer the questions on their paper. But one of the biggest problems I face, and I think a lot of students will probably face, is burnout. So you have to remember to pace yourself during O-levels, because O-levels is usually about 4 to 5 weeks long. There's usually one paper each day, 2 if you take some certain subjects. But personally, my papers were usually 1 paper per day, and it's quite long compared to prelims or your mid-year, so it is way easier to get burnout. You need to remember to study, but also take breaks in between so that you can process and you can recharge, because sometimes you study for like 4 or 5 weeks in a row and sometimes you're not used to it. It's really easy to burn out all of a sudden, and this can really lead to you just not wanting to study anymore, and it's gonna affect your grades. I usually try to get adequate rest the night before. I don't sleep at like 12 or 1. I usually sleep at like 10:30. Then the next day, because usually papers start in the afternoon, I tend to get a little bit more revision in the morning. Like I memorize definitions and everything in the morning instead of the night before. And it also kind of calms my nerves a bit right before the paper, so that's usually what I do. You need to read your schedule and what papers you have next. You can mark it on a calendar like I did, but you really need to know what to study in between papers and what to focus on, so that you don't just waste your time sitting there and being nervous for the next paper without actually doing anything. For example, I had English, Math in the same week, and for my English papers, I don't really study much for English papers, because it's more of comprehension and how much you understand the paper itself rather than memorizing stuff outside. It's the most basic tip of all, but preparations before O-levels, right before the exam starts, you have to remember to bring your pencil case, your stationery, your calculators, your ODT if you ever need to before O-levels, or some other stationery that you usually use. So, example, if you're taking a math paper, bring calculator, bring graph ruler, bring bring curve ruler. Oh my god, I am so bad at this. Bring a curve ruler, bring your stationery, bring your whatever that you need to bring, just bring it. And if you're studying and you're revising your work before that, right? Once you're done, stuff all your notes, everything in your bag. If you can, just run some stuff in your head, process what you just learned, and I think that will help you be more prepared. Number 6, I think, or my tip, is don't give up. You're gonna hear this a lot of times. You're gonna see this everywhere. If you go into Reddit, I don't know, during your O-levels, you're gonna find out that there's a lot of people suffering and a lot of people saying the same thing as me: don't give up. Because O-levels is your last push. It is a build-up of the last 4 years of you studying in secondary school, and it's gonna determine where you go after O-levels. You also remember to give yourself credit where it's due. Sometimes you might just mess up a paper and you might not do as well as you thought you did, or maybe there's that one question that everybody managed to solve and you didn't manage to solve it and you're all demotivated. You need to remember that at least you finish a paper, at least you're one step closer to the end. You need to just push through, and you need to give yourself a pat on the back. You might think that you mess up this paper because that one question you didn't manage to do well. Maybe it's a 12-mark question and you didn't manage to solve it, or you're pretty sure you got 0 and you're gonna fail everything. You might have not messed up as bad as you thought you would, and it might show in your results that you might have done better than you actually thought that you did. because I thought that I messed up really bad for my science practical, my physics practical. It was a disaster. I didn't know how to do anything, and everybody's graph was like downwards or something, and mine was like upwards, and I panicked so hard. But you know, in the end, I still did quite well for my combined science because everything else wasn't too bad, and it was just that one small paper that I kind of messed up. So you just need to push through, and if there's more than one paper, you know, do your best for the other paper because it can still pull you out. So you've reached the end of O-levels, I hope. Don't give up, okay? Go and celebrate, have fun with your friends, go and get your favorite food, catch up on your favorite hobbies, you know, watch anime, listen to K-pop, I don't know, play Minecraft or something. But one tip I'll give is make the most out of your holidays. Don't just spend every day lying down in bed, waking up at like 4 p.m. to do nothing. Like, try to do stuff that you probably usually wouldn't do. Like, if you want to try out like just making videos or something, like this is the best time for you to actually do it. Like, if you wanna, I don't know, just have fun with your friends, go on. You go USS, just go. You wanna go wherever, just go. You wanna spend time with your family, do it. Like, this is probably the last proper holiday you'll ever have, which doesn't require you to like mark everything. The next one being like A-levels, but you know, for now this is like one of the biggest holidays you'll ever get, and because O-levels are also over, so you know, you got to make the most out of it and don't miss out on stuff that you know you usually take up. Being someone who's going to JC soon, I kind of like regretted that for the last month or so. I kind of just spent every day like lazing around. I didn't do much, and I think it just made me less prepared for what's about to come, and I feel horrible, honestly. So like, this is my advice from me to you personally. Just, you know, celebrate and rest. Consider your options, get a part-time job, who knows, but please just make the most out of your holidays and don't just lie down and anything. Yeah.
So if you're curious about my results, it's on the screen. I did way better than I thought I was gonna do. It's just another thing. You just gotta keep trying and keep studying smart and studying hard, and you will make it.
His final tips is just do your best, don't give up, and you know, all the best for your exams. And I hope that, you know, this video was kind of helpful if you made it all the way to the end. Yeah, so thank you. Bye bye.